What's up, everybody? On today's episode of the Hashtag Blackout Podcast, I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. Come on, guys. Y'all know you sing it. Anyway, all that and more on today's episode of the Hashtag Blackout Podcast. You know, Jeffrey's coming back. I wish he was coming back here. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hashtag Blackout Podcast. Episode 148, 148. I'm Jared.
What's up? I'm Jay.
And we are back and at it again. Jay, man, how the heck has everything been going for you? Cause
it's been busy, quite busy.
Yeah.
Work, lots of work at work. Yeah, obviously lots of work at work.
Yeah.
Just the same old, taking care of these crazy kids and my lovely wife.
Yeah.
She's so great to me. She's standing right here.
I was going to say.
Tell the people hi.
Is she nearby? What's up, Miss?
Yeah, she's near.
Miss J.
Yeah, she tells the people out there in internet radio land. So,
right. That's
but
cool.
It's New Year's off to a fairly good start.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Of course, we get a 3-day weekend. On Monday, it's Martin Luther King.
That's right.
Which is kind of funny at work. I was, I'm the only chocolate drop in a in a sea of milk, but it was kind of funny. I was just sitting at my desk, and there's this older white lady that we usually have these weird type of conversations about race. Like she's asked me about slavery and stuff. She, maybe I just misunderstood her one time, but she actually thought the Underground Railroad was underground.
No, gee.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of things. She had told me like last year. She's like, "Oh my God, I've never heard about this kid Emmett Till until just recently."
Wow.
And yeah. So anyway, she came up to me, and she's like one of those people that likes to hug people. And I really don't like to hug anybody.
Oh, come on, man! You don't like to show love?
I mean, I like to show love, but just not like at work in front of a bunch of people, because we get all kind of what do you call it? Go through all kind of training about like sexual misconduct and things like that.
Yeah, you don't want
to take one thing one way and other. Yeah, exactly. So she's one of those people that like to hug and this and that. So she came, she gave me like this little hug, and I was like, okay. And she puts her hand on my shoulder and is like, "You do know what Monday is, right?" I'm like, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I do. So, yeah. So now you know the type of things I deal with all the time at work.
Well, hey,
especially
man.
with this one lady.
This is... I can totally understand you on that. Because I'm trying to think. I've had a similar experience either with coworkers or with random family members on my wife's side of the family.
Right.
Yeah, I can get it, man. It seems a little awkward sometimes, because they'll just come up with like a new, they'll just come up with a new fact that that they've learned, that they've researched, or they talked about, or they heard, and they just may want a little more of the, of your thoughts and feelings, because, they think it would affect you. Or it has affected you. Yeah, I get that. And you know what, man? I'm going to tell you this, man, about the Underground Railroad. When I was a kid, obviously, I think most of us as kids thought the Underground Railroad actually was truly underground.
Yeah, it was actually underground.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I think I've seen a lot of artist renderings of that. Harriet Tubman at the, gatekeeping the Underground Railroad, if you will, at the door, welcoming in slaves, and it literally being a hole in the ground.
Right.
And I remember like seeing basically like if you would, let's see here, if you can imagine like a mine shaft, you know what I'm saying? Like a dingy old mine shaft. I remember seeing an artist representation and it looking just sort of like that. Like she's at the door, ushering them in, and they're all like walking through. So that's what I thought too, which I wouldn't be surprised if there were some spots, where they did have, you know, sort of hiding places that were holes in the ground.
Tunnels. Or something.
Yeah, tunnels. Yeah. But yeah, man, not, you know, she thought it was actually on the ground. It's funny. But did you see that? You didn't see that movie Harriet, did you?
No.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. It's a really good movie. It's very powerful. A lot of stuff mixed into that. So whenever you have an opportunity, definitely try to check it out. It's really good. I took my kids to it and it was almost, man, I think to them, it was almost like the first time I saw Roots when I was a kid, or The Color Purple.
Oh, yeah.
Or The Color Purple. I came out of that movie, like, when I was a kid, I was like, why did you show that movie to me? I wasn't ready for that. Yeah. I'm a child. And I think that's what that's my son's reaction to it. So let's see. And yeah, in Matilda, yeah, I don't know, man. I guess I give that lady credit for trying to, you know, relate to you in a manner. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I guess.
And bringing up MLK Day. So they actually let y'all have MLK Day off?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, they let us have it off.
That's dope, man. Hey.
Yeah. Yes, I guess. Yeah, it's dope.
I'm going to tell you something. Having grown up in Texas and also worked there, there was a time where you didn't get MLK Day off in school or at work, right? No. It wasn't recognized as a national holiday in Texas, even though, you know, you had friends or you had family in other parts of the country, and even other parts of the state that got it off. You know, at least in my school district, they didn't give it off for a long time. And one of the reasons was because the school district I grew up in was once seen as like a racist town, Pasadena, Texas.
Right.
They had like one of the biggest redneck nightclubs in the world there.
Nice.
And that was sort of like in the county seat. And so, you know, to them, they're like, no, it's just another day. You got to go to school. And it's funny because I think my generation, you know, was also one of those generations while in school that we wanted to try to make some changes. And that was one of the social changes that we were trying to get done. And we got it done. I think there were a couple years while we were in high school where we were just like, we are going to do our senior skip day on Martin Luther King Day because we have friends in other parts of Houston that were getting it out. And we didn't. And we were doing that in protest, and we made sure to let the teachers and principals know that. And yeah, we did it, man, because they're going to make us go to school. And I think eventually, maybe by my junior year, we finally were able to get Martin Luther King Day off. You know, the district finally, you know, heard our voices, if you will, saw our actions. Yeah. And then, so that was pretty dope then to be able to do that. And then, growing, working, there were some places that I worked at honored it and some places that didn't. But if a place that I worked at was like open, like a restaurant or something like that, man, I took that day off. I was like, this is my holiday.
Yeah, right.
Cause I'm one of the few chocolate drops, if you will. So that's great. But yeah, man, glad y'all will have that day off. Get to spend that. My kids get it off here. So, and my wife does, so be nice for them. Yeah, man. Wow. My past couple weeks has been quite interesting. A little sick on and off. You know, doing some more stuff with the hook shrub, getting that working. And then, also it was my anniversary. So, 14-year anniversary.
Yeah. Happy Anna.
Yes,
Happy
indeed.
Annie.
Yep. 14 years ago, this week, actually 14 years ago right now, I was in Jamaica, man. Me and my wife down in the grill, down by the beach. Like Mr. Nice Guy says. And yeah, sure. Man, we're having a good time with family and some family. Actually, I think at this point the family had already gone back home, so it was just us on our honeymoon then. So yeah, man, shout out to my wife. Happy anniversary! Thank you for
what's up.
Not kicking me to the curb during these 14 years. And for the That's two great. Beautiful children that we have that are absolutely crazy, in a good way. So,
yeah.
Other than that, man, still cold in Utah. But hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yes, indeed. So
you guys got a winner. We didn't.
Yeah,
which is good for me.
Yeah, it's weird though. This year, it's not snowing as heavily as it was last year. Last year was crazy. This year, it'll snow pretty heavy on a day, and then it'll be clear for like 4 or 5 days, and it'll snow, and then it'll be clear. Or they're gonna say, "Oh, this is gonna be a big snowmaker," and then it's like not even an inch.
Yeah, that's what they say here about like the Texas storms. Mm-hmm. Like we were supposed to get, there's like tornado watches and all kind of stuff, and this, that, and the other. And they're like, "Oh, we're supposed to be getting like quarter-size hail," and the time comes, sirens start going off, and it just rains a little bit. Right. Nobody gets anything.
Y'all supposed to get thunder snow.
Yeah, thunder snow. That's exactly what they called it.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yep.
I remember that. So. That's funny. Cool. Well, hey, man, that's dope. Let's see. So, couple things before we get into the voicemail. We've toyed around one with sort of changing up the format, or changing up sort of like our, I don't know, just how we do things, what we talk about, et cetera, during the bulk of the show, and constantly trying to make it shorter. And I think one thing that we sort of have been talking about for a little bit now is doing sort of like a themed show, and one topic one topic, or maybe really host of topics category, whatever you want to call it, is intersectionality between a lot of different things. The intersectionality between music and sports, or even more pared down, hip hop and basketball. You know what I'm saying? Or even hip hop and video games. Or then even we go with the intersectionality of, your childhood and adulthood, cultures of kids that you grew up with compared to cultures of people, and interactions that you work with now, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's a lot of different topics mixed into that. We can go into food, we can go into politics, race, gender, whatever, gender, whatever.
Race, gingers.
Yeah.
Well, I guess ginger is considered a race.
The race of gingers. Yes. Redheads. But no, I think it'll be pretty cool for us to delve into this, and eventually we'll have some people on that are a lot more smarter than us to talk about these topics. So yeah, so I think it'll be cool. Also, we have toyed with the idea of dropping our Tap Your Love Box segment. We had some people reach out and say, no, don't stop tapping that love box. So we'll keep it. We'll keep it at the end. Maybe do something a little different with it, but we're going to keep it. Won't change that much. But so just be on the lookout for some cool shows like that, as there are a plethora of topics to talk about.
Nice. And if anybody else out there has any thing they could think of, sort of on the same line, shoot it our way. We'll try to tackle it for you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And one easy way to shoot it our way would be through a voicemail. So, Jay. Whoa, hey, skeet.
Hey.
That is?
Yeah, voicemail.
Well, hey.
3853-BLAKPC. That's 385-325-2572. Don't shoot anything through your...
I would not be. I
don't. The back or the bottom.
I don't want anything shot from anybody's, bodily holes. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. I don't think there's a hole that you could have something shoot out of anywhere on your body that I will accept. Do not send it in the mail to us. Do not send it to us via DM. We don't want it.
Yes.
But if you do, I mean, we'll happily accept it and play it on the show. Okay. So here we go. So we do have one voicemail this week. It's from our Memphis correspondent. Happy to hear from her. As always, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
First time Blackout Podcast. It's your friendly cousin, sister from Memphis. Your Memphis correspondent, Memphis Diva 99 at yahoo.com. Y'all, have y'all been looking at the tower? Who do y'all think shot Ghost? I think he's alive. I think he's just under witness protection. That's just me. It's getting on my nerves. Just tell us already. So I'm looking at this movie called Burn Bright. This little boy is basically Superman evil reincarnated. That's what I think. I hope it's part 2 when he grows up or whatever. But anyways, I've been checking out Disney Plus, and I want a Yoda. Will y'all get me a Yoda, a baby Yoda, please? Okay.
Wait a minute. We played this last podcast episode.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
Light goes on, I guess.
Nope.
I just wanted to call y'all, see what y'all been doing. Well, I got some horror stories to tell y'all. I'm about to quit that job. Okay, then, bye.
All right, bye, Kayla. No, actually, she just left this a week ago. We didn't record then. I think she brought back similar topic.
Because we talked about Brightburn and we talked about Ghost because she left too. Talking about Power at one time and talking about who shot Ghost and she thinks he's still alive. Then she mentioned Brightburn. Then she had said something about Disney Plus wanting a Baby Yoda, and I know I had mentioned that in like the love box. Unless I'm just having a crazy case of deja vu.
Well, let's see here. Wow. That's possibly possible. Let's see here. What is her first word in here? First time Blackout Podcast. Of course, thank you, Google Translate for saying first time Blackout Podcast instead of hashtag Blackout Podcast. I'm looking back though, and I don't see this in her recent calls, and it showed that it was left on Sunday. So that's weird. Whatever the case. It is similar. I know she always asks about Power though. I know that's true. I know she does. Okay. Customer Blackout Podcast.
I didn't see Power. Brightburn. I want to see Brightburn. It's on Stars, so
yeah,
I want to check that out. And Baby Yoda, yeah, people are getting sued left and right for trying to copy Baby Yoda and sell it.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's everywhere, man.
Disney is coming down hard.
Yeah, this is what's so. I guess the cool thing about Baby Yoda is the fact that if you have a Build-A-Bear workshop near you, you can go and get your own Baby Yoda very soon, if not already. But you cannot create your own Baby Yoda and sell it without Disney's authorization because they will come and take all of your money. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I haven't seen Brightbox, whatever it's called, and I haven't seen Power yet. But yeah, I guess she said that she has some Uber horror stories, so we're definitely waiting to hear those, Kayla. Definitely want to hear. Maybe we can get her on the show and talk about Uber, and maybe we can even make that a show that's connected to one of these intersectionality topics, because for her that was sort of her side hustle job, and she also has a 9-to-5. So maybe we can intersectionality that show. Bring her on. She could talk about her side hustle and, sort of the reasoning why / her experience doing it with a full time as well. So, which,
Right.
we both have sort of freelanced or done some other stuff as side hustles as well with a full time job. So, we have some insight there. So yeah, we'll think about that for another time. But thank you. Send us some voicemails. Talk about your own Uber horror stories or the little tiny baby Yoda that you're trying to craft and sell in whatever way we want to hear it. So here we go. Let's go ahead and hop into this topic. Maybe you can find a dope beat to drop before we jump into these. I don't know how you want to do it, but maybe you could do that and add it into the edit. So,
okay.
It sounds like we're actually changing subjects. I don't know. You come up with that. You know what you're doing. Okay. So here we go. So today, our first foray into the intersectionality is something that I think we can all sort of relate to. It's something that we all did as kids, unless, for some reason, you didn't have toys, is basically the intersection of childhood toys and adult toys. So I think this is a good way to jump into this because, like I said, it's something we could all relate to. And we all had certain things that we played with. We all have things that we want to buy or that we want to play with right now that may or may not be people, but yeah, we thought this would be a first jump in. So the intersection of childhood toys and adulthood toys. So yeah, I think we've both sort of talked about this off air about the fact that we'd probably mentioned a lot of these toys that we personally played with and wanted as kids in previous shows. But, there's some new listeners out there. I know that. We recognize that. So we'll just quickly touch on that, on some toys we wanted as kids. And then we'll do the, alternate play of sort of stuff we want as adults. So, Jay, throw out a couple of toys you wanted as kids.
All right. Well, obviously, when you're a kid, you go to the store, you see toy aisle. There's obviously always something you want. But I think the one thing I always wanted that I never got was the die-cast Voltron lions.
Yep.
I always wanted that. Never got it. I think you had it, lead paint and all. But,
yep.
Hey, I'll still take it today if I, And there's some today. There's a company today that makes like a fully sculpted, like die cast, complete. I don't know how tall it is, maybe 2 feet tall or something. But it's like, I'm still on the fence if I want to buy it or not. So yeah, but that's the only thing I could honestly say that I wanted when I was a kid.
Yeah,
that I never got.
Isn't that newer version? Isn't it like $100? It's like
no,
a pretty
it's not
penny.
$100. If it was it's probably like 3 something, maybe close to
$300, $400? No.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, but this one is
it's better than
something else.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's see here. So, yeah, man, there were a lot of toys that I had as a child as well. I did have that Voltron. I also had the car version of Voltron, and those were both very dope. Big fans of both of those. I will have to say, man, there's too many that I wanted.
Sorry, I take that back. $1,300.
$1,300.
I think if I would have got it the day it dropped, or at the time it dropped, it probably would have been a lot less. But yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, back to what you were saying.
That is crazy. I think oh man, there's too many. I think one of the many, I guess, sort of sets of toys that I wanted. When I was a kid, I always wanted like the rest of a collection, if that makes any sense. I think we all sort of had bits and pieces of some collections. But the one full collection that I truly wanted was G.I. Joes. which includes all of the vehicles, which includes the bases. So I wanted the whole collection, and I wanted Cobra Commander as the main bad guy. I didn't have him. I had Destro with the gold dome Destro. He was like a special limited edition gold head Destro, not the silver head. So had that guy. I wanted Cobra Commander, and I wanted their base as well as the G.I. Joe home base. I had a lot of the other toys and some of the vehicles, but that's definitely one of the main things I wanted. And then also like the really expensive Lego sets when I was a kid. I wanted those, but my parents were not about that life. So I got the cheap ones. But yeah, man. So there's, so there's a couple toys among the many that we probably could mention. Well, yeah, so that's sort of the stuff that we wanted then. So, but what about now? Compared to now, I mean, we're adults, you know what I'm saying? We're both late 30s, early 40s. So what type of toys, do we want as adults? And what do you think?
Well, it's funny you say things that I want now, because I'm a big collector of vinyl toys, urban vinyl toys, art toys, whatever you want to call them. It's a big market for them, or I won't even say big market for them, but there's a large following. It's a niche market for these toys. There's one, I guess my holy grail that I'm actually looking for is it's a Going Bad Apple, which is Going is the artist, Goin, and Bad Apple is the actual toy, and it's actually Snow White with a bandana over her face holding a grenade.
Oh wow!
So there's like so it's like this. We're talking about the intersection between childhood and adult toys. And obviously childhood, it's a more of a playable thing. And these toys that I'm collecting, these collectible art toys, they're more of a display showcase type thing. So that's kind of how my toy fascination, want to call it, kind of migrated into that, kind of flourished into more art toys and collectibles. But that's my holy grail. I cannot find one. At the time they were released, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it at that time. But now that I can't find them. And if I look online, they're they're worth close to $1,000 now. When at the time they were probably like 100, 150. Yeah. So, but there's a lot of toys that I love and that I want. But
yeah, it's sort of interesting. Sort of watching your you evolving into being a toy collector, and hearing your struggles really is sort of interesting, because if you're able to get it on the day it drops, the day it launches, releases, whatever, you get it at the retail price that the artist is putting it out there for. But if you miss that day, you miss that window, you're the 101st person in line. If they only make 100 of each, then yeah, man, you got to go on the alternate market, like an eBay or, an Amazon or some other kind of, or not Amazon, but an eBay or some other kind of, collector site to try to find it. And like you say, they bump the price up a lot. So it's hard to want to drop that dime on that toy when it goes up 2, 3, 4 times the amount that, it originally, started for. So I'm sure it's one of those sort of deep breath moments where you sit there and you're like, am I going to buy this or not? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah. There was some moments like that this past week where there were some things that released, and I'm looking at, I have my timer set, because a lot of times these days, like, collectors have to have it on their calendar, got to have a timer set.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be there like right at the moment it drops. And there's some things that drop this week, and I'm like, do I really want to get this? Do I really want to get this? Is something else going to come out that I really want?
Yeah.
So I got it. I put it in my cart, and then I was like, man, I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
Then I wait like 10 minutes. I refresh the page, sold out.
Sold out.
So, yeah.
10 minutes.
You got to really be on it on some of these things that drop. Otherwise, you're just not going to get it, or you're going to find it like marked up probably 2-3 times the value.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, it sort of correlates with shoes, you know, new shoe drops, especially Jordans right now, you know. And it's been like that for years. You know, if you're not, you know, in line at the drop point, you know, when they first come out in LA or in New York or Chicago, wherever they're dropping in Houston, then, you know, you're not going to get them. And then you end up having, instead of paying, you know, $200 for a pair, then, you know, you end up paying, you know, $4, $6, $8, you know, a couple thousand for a pair, depending on the, you know, the pair and the model that comes out. So that's interesting. It sort of overlaps with that. It's a similar situation, and they sell out in minutes too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think that, I don't know, maybe you could speak to this, but I think the thing that doesn't overlap with the shoe game, with the toy game, and we could talk about this on another episode, probably more depth, is the violence that's connected to it. I don't know. I've never heard of anybody being beat up over a toy that they didn't get other than like in elementary school or something.
No, there's no toy fights, as adults, that I know of.
Yeah.
But obviously there's like a bunch of different little offshoots of the whole toy collector, genre nowadays, if you want to call it toy collector culture nowadays. Cause you got people that solely collect pop toys, like Funko Pop toys. You got those people that solely collect like maybe Star Wars toys. You have the other offshoot of people that like myself that collect like all these designer art toys.
Yeah.
And you know, everybody kind of gets along. I tell you what, there's like arguments over Funko Pops in the designer art toy world.
Yeah.
You know, like the people in the art toy world, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them really can't stand like the Pops toys or the Pops collectors.
Yeah. That's funny.
You know,
that's funny.
It is pretty funny. I mean, you know, collect what you want to collect. I don't care. I mean, but I think that's a pretty funny funny subject when you go on some of these like message boards or maybe Reddit sites, and you see people talking about Funko Pops versus, you know, just like a designer art toy.
Yeah.
You know, there's you know, people that absolutely love Funko Pops, and yeah, it is what it is. But I just think it's just a funny subject to be arguing over.
I think it is too, man.
And I think it's for me. I think it's probably because Funko practically just took over everything. Like at one time, mid 2000s, towards the late 2000s, before 2010, Kid Robot, which is one of the biggest designer like art toy manufacturers out there, they had like retail stores popping up all over the country, and to this day, there's not one left.
Wow! Because
they kind of all closed down, and I don't know why. I don't know exactly why. I guess just because the marketing, maybe the demand for those toys were I don't know. Maybe just the marketing at the company, maybe management shifts, things like that. It just kind of did things that were bad for the business, so everything just started to close down.
I mean, I'll tell you one or two reasons, maybe three reasons why that stuff I believe shut down. Because I mean, this is another, like, along with that subject, you know, toy stores then compared to toy stores now. Then, you know, we had the Kid Robot stores. We had the KB toy store. You know, we had Toys R Us. You know, these places were like everywhere or in malls all over the place. You know, et cetera. And then came the, you know, came the mass popularity of the same toys / inexpensive or a little less expensive version of the same toys at department stores like a Walmart, like a Target. And then you add in like an online presence like an Amazon or an eBay where you could go online in the comfort of your home, buy your kid that toy, you know, or, you know, a place like that. Because like if you go to Walmart, you can go there, buy toys, buy clothes, buy toiletries, buy stuff for your home, and then get your groceries all at the same time instead of having to go to a specific store at a mall. You know what I'm saying? Or strip center.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But the thing about Kid Robot is it's not for kids.
Yeah.
It's adult toys.
Yeah.
It's adult toys. So that in itself, I think the marketing, the advertisement to adults and collectors, because the thing about Kid Robot, they used to have lines packed around the block like people going to buy Jordans.
Yeah.
That's how popular it was. And there's probably maybe less than 10 official stores in the whole U.S., maybe a couple overseas. I don't know. So that's how popular it was. I'd have to go into further research to see what the actual downfall was. But a lot of toy store, and I agree with you, online shopping is the thing to do now because it's cheaper. You don't have a physical brick and mortar place that you have to pay taxes on or rent or things like that. So I could understand why a lot of stores closed down, because a lot of shops that I would shop online at that were like located maybe in Arizona or California, Chicago, New York, they closed their physical locations because they couldn't afford the rent.
It's one of those things though. You know, I sent you a link to, you know, one of many articles that sort of talks about adults sort of playing with toys, you know, compared to when they were children. And, you know, it's one of those things. I think there's probably also a few factors that are mixed in with, you know, probably a host of other factors, like you say, is that, you know, as a child, when you play with toys, you know, it's just a stuffed lion. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a stuffed bear, right? When you're like a baby. And then as you grow up a little bit older, that lion, you know, or a little teddy bear has a name, or that action figure has a name, has something associated with it, especially if it's like a character like from a Star Wars or from Ninja Turtles or something like that. And, you know, he has a backstory. Then you mix him in with other toys to, you know, whatever their relationship is, or they get in a fight, a war, you know, with all your toys, whatever it is. But then as you grow older, you know, become a teen, preteen and teen, it's more about, less about playing with toys and more about playing and hanging out with your friends. And less about toys. But then when you become an adult, you try to find that whatever it was as a child. And you know, and I think in a lot of cases, it does and doesn't have the same connection back to childhood. So, you know, when you're an adult and you find toys, you may not play with them the same way as you did when you were a kid, unless you have kids. And, you know, you play with toys a little bit, but it does bring back some of that feeling from when you were a kid. It does bring back some of that, you know, emotions, your endorphins get released and you feel good and stuff like that. And you don't, you know, truly always realize, but it's the way it is. But then as an adult, you're not out there looking for it the same way. And even if you're trying to get some of these, you know, adult focused toys or adult targeted toys, you know, it's sort of a different thing. You know, it's sort of like the hunt for the toy, the research for the toy, going to find it. If you want to wait in line for the toy, if you want to wait online for the toy, for the drop day and time. And then if you're lucky enough to get it. And so I think maybe and I don't know how Kid Robot did it. Maybe the expansion of a lot of these special artist toys, and the fact that they were, a lot of them are only available online, made it harder for them to stay in business, because they're like, a lot of people may be going to that. You go to comic conventions or other kind of toy conventions, and even comic stores, comic book stores, and they have a lot of these specialized toys there.
Yeah.
Whereas you can't find them as easily available in a Walmart or Target, like you would. So maybe it's a convenience factor. I don't know, man. That's interesting.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
I think it is. You're right. It's definitely convenience, staying at home and just shopping online versus, trying to go to the actual store to get something.
Yeah. I don't know, man. There's probably a host of factors mixed in. So that compared to when we were kids, like when we were kids, we didn't have to go online and wait in line for a toy, and most of the time we didn't wait in line at a store. Like our parents would be doing that for us, and it didn't happen until holidays or birthday or something like that. If the toy happened to coincide with that. I remember specifically, I distinctly, vividly remember as a kid going to Christmas shop with my parents, and going to Kmart and the blue light specials, right? Around holidays, they would have blue light specials. They would be big time on like Saturdays and stuff like that. They would put an ad in the paper for it. They're like, come out Saturday, we're going to have blue light specials on XYZ things in the store. And I remember my parents telling me to go stand in line for a blue light special for this specific toy. I think it's for like my brother or sister, while, one of them stood in line for another blue light special for another toy, which was probably going to be for me. And it's funny because I distinctly remember, 20, 30, 40 adults standing there waiting for this toy to be available to grab off the shelf. And then they would, take it to the register and buy it or whatever. But it being sort of bedlam, and that's like when people waited for toys at the store, instead of waiting online, instead of waiting in other situations. And I remember some random lady like taking one of the toys or like grabbing it from in front of me. Thankfully, there was another one right behind it I was able to grab. But yeah, man, it was weird, man. A blue light special was, a specific toy they put on special for a certain time period or a certain date. And they only had a limited amount of them, right? But it was to also cause a fever, a fever pitch for the toy, for people to all come out and, rustle over the toy. And it was sort of like a Black Friday in the store every 10 minutes or something like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it's sort of different, then compared to now. Online now, you can buy a toy pretty much in many different websites. They have a similar toy, whatever kind of toy it is, whether children's toy or adult toy. Some of them are, probably like you say, more catered to specific artist releases, but you can pretty much find anything online now. Whereas back then, you go to your local Toys R Us. Which Toys R Us pretty much had everything, so I don't really say that. But like you go to your Kmart, like I said earlier, and they only have, like 10 G.I. Joe action figures, right, on the shelf.
Right.
You may not, or you may find the one that you're looking for. Or you may or may not find the He-Man character that you're looking for. But then if you go across town to the next nearest Kmart, or I go to visit you in Louisiana, we go to your Kmart or your Walmart, and you have a whole different version. You have like, 5 of the same 10, but the other 5 are totally different characters that I never saw at my Kmart or Walmart. So, you wouldn't, like, every store was different. It was interesting. You couldn't just find it as readily available like it is online now, where you could just shop all the locations at once. So,
and it's kind of sort of like that now with like the Funko Pops. I noticed like, there's some that are like Target exclusive.
Yeah.
Walmart exclusive, GameStop exclusive. So I see what you're saying with the kind of like exclusivity. What's that word?
Exclusivity.
Exclusivity. There you go. There you go. Thanks for correcting.
Yeah.
Exclusivity. Yeah. And it's it's the same thing with some of these other art toys that I get to. There's like exclusive drops to like kind of like the kid the Hello Kitty thing that I showed you that you could probably get for your daughter.
Yeah.
It was only at that one particular site, that one color. If you couldn't get it, eBay is the next option.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
yeah,
exclusivity.
And, there you go. And then
definitely,
yeah, man. And then it went to me as an adult, as a father, trying to debate in my mind if I want to spend. I can't remember. It was like $40 for a Hello Kitty doll. That was hard for me, even though it was dope. And actually, my daughter saw a picture of it. She's like, "Oh, that's cool. I want one of those." But then I'm like, "Dang, can I spend this $40? Her birthday's coming up. You know, is it worth it to spend this? How much will she play with it? You know, I'm putting all these things in my mind, and I don't know if that's the same type of stuff our parents, you know, thought when we were kids. But I know that it was a thought process that went through my mind, and caused me not to pull the trigger just yet, on that. You know, but I know, but it's also like you say, you know, it's more of a collectible toy compared to like a play with an imaginative toy, maybe. I don't know. But with kids, you know, they turn it into imagination. So
tell me this, and maybe you do this. I know I kind of came to the realization I do this with my kids, that I'm kind of like living through them. Like I'm buying them stuff. I'm kind of buying them a bunch of things that I did not get when I was their age. Like my kids got a crap load of toys.
Yeah.
And when I think about it, let's see, my wife's like, you just now know I've been but no, I've been realizing, like, there's like, I look at my kids' room, all their toys from wall to wall on the floor. And then I think about my little small playpen of toys that I had to use my imagination and create different scenarios with all these little box of army men and my little G.I. Joe guys and Thundercats and all these folks. So do you do the same thing with especially with your son?
You mean looking at his toys?
Yeah, do you find yourself like getting toys for him that you wish you could have got, that you wish your parents could have got when you were there?
Oh man. I mean, all the time. I think that goes into, some of the toys, he gets, like the Legos that he gets, because, you know, they're still more expensive now than they were back then. But, you know, back then, like I said, you know, I didn't get as many like specialized sets. Like I wouldn't have gotten like the Star Wars, you know, like set back then, you know, because my parents were like, nah, that's too much money. But now, you know, I'm like, oh, I think that would be cool because it'll tie into the movie that he saw, because I can afford it, or because it's something that I couldn't, like you say, you know, something that I couldn't get as a kid, but I can get that for my kid. So, you know, so he could have that experience maybe that I missed.
Right.
And I don't want to do it. I don't do it as a, what do you call it? I don't do it as a, you know, let me live vicariously through them or something like that. It's more of a, when I was a kid, I wanted it. I couldn't get it. And, you know, there are many factors, including parents didn't want to pay that money. I'm going to do that for my kid to make sure they have that experience. And, you know, sometimes it turns out cool and they play with it for a long time. Sometimes it's sort of a disappointment for me because I'm like, dang, they played with that the first time they opened it and that's it. But what can you do, man? It is what it is. And then I think that, that bleeds over into video games mainly, I think, because my son, is sort of, even though he still plays with some of his toys, every now and then he'll whip out his Hot Wheels. You know, most of the time he is, it's more like video games now. And when I was a kid and
transition.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, I would come to play at your house, or my cousin Fabian's house, and I would sort of envy y'all because y'all had all the games that I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Or you had a lot of them that I wanted, that I didn't have. And so now with the availability of downloadable video games, or the fact that you can go to a place like GameStop and buy, what was normally like a $60 game for like $30, that makes me more apt to want to buy that for my son now, because I'm like, or my daughter now, because I'm like, my parents wouldn't be going out there and buying me a game all the time, even though the price was different then. But, the inflation is, is sort of relatable to the times, I guess. Now, that I can afford that, sort of makes me want to do that. And I don't know. I mean, at what point does that change? I think the time when that sort of overlapped each other was when I was working and I had my own money and I was on my own and I got my first Xbox. You know what I'm saying? It's probably like, I think the Xbox, no, was it a PlayStation? PlayStation was the first system I had, that I bought when I wasn't living at home with my parents and siblings, while I was in college. But then I think I eventually gave that to my brothers and sisters, my brother and sister. And then the next system that I got by myself, I think post college, was an Xbox, and I was working. I was able to go, buy whatever game that came out if I wanted to. So I think that's where that crossover happened. Cause by that point, my parents weren't buying me any more games, and I started buying for myself. Right. I stayed in love with gaming. And then now that I have kids, I'm like, I want my kids to have these experiences, regardless of whatever it is. I want them to be able to play games and enjoy it a little more than I did as a kid. And unfortunately now we live in the digital age, and it's an age where kids are more stuck to electronics than ever before. Yes. So that's also the difference, that's also something that changed over time. But yeah,
they don't go outside anymore.
No, they don't like they used to. And it's funny because my kid will go outside, like my son will go outside. He'll walk down the street a little bit, to his friend's house who lives a few doors down. He'll walk down there, go to his house, talk to him. And then like 5 minutes later, they'll show back up at our house to play games. I'm just like, hold on a second. You said you were going out to play, or you said you were going to his house to play, but that's what they do. Mm-hmm. And even when they go to his house, they'll might hang out or play or do some other random stuff, but they'll eventually play games too. So, yeah, man, it's sort of funny. That's the going out, In the wintertime here is different than the summertime. Summertime, obviously you can stay out a little bit longer. And not be uncomfortably cold. In the wintertime here, unless it's like snowing and you can go sledding, you ain't staying out for a long time. So, right. It's the inside. Yeah, man. Playing toys with friends. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. So when you're a kid, you play toys in your house, in your friend's house, outside in both your yard or another friend's backyard, or you'd even go to like a nearby field. We had this place by our house called The Hill. We called it The Hill because it was the only thing that resembled a hill in Houston, which is flat as all get out. Yeah. And we'd ride our bikes up there. We'd bring toys over there and like do forts and stuff like that. That was the thing we did as kids. And we would like go to our friend's house, say, hey, let's go to the hill, or meet you at the hill in 5 minutes, something like that. And, we'd bounce from house to house to house to all your friends. Then eventually it'd be like a group of 5 or 10 kids all playing together. And that's what you did together outside, like you said. We played outside. But, and I just sort of mentioned how my son does it now. Nowadays, really the only time I quote unquote play with my friends is if I'm online playing a video game with them and we're all, squatting or duoing together, It's different.
Yeah.
Or, we'll go and hang out with a friend like at at a bar or a restaurant, something like that. But, you know, it's a different type of toy.
Different type of toy, different time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. I could remember just going outside playing with my friends, similar situations with G.I. Joes or, you know, some kind of little action figure and stuff, and just making up stuff in our head as we play along. So those were the good times versus now. There's no, you know, like you said, playing is reduced down to like going to a bar and maybe playing like Jumbo Jenga or something like that.
Yeah.
Or what is that? Cornhole? Is it called cornhole?
Cornhole, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny,
man. That's the extent of the grown up games that majority of us play.
Yeah. I remember it was a couple weeks ago, you know, we were out having dinner somewhere and I looked up on ESPN and right next to the NFL playoff game on one screen, the next screen over had the National Cornhole Championship. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I think it's been going on for years now. It's just, I'd never really seen it like that.
That's right.
And yeah, man, I mean, I remember that time coming down to Texas for work and, you know, hanging out with you. One of those evenings we went to dinner at this bar out there. What was it called? The Kung Fu Saloon or something? What's it called?
Yeah, Kung Fu Saloon.
Yeah, in Dallas. Dope place. If you're ever there, definitely check it out. It has a lot of retro games and it also has some like adult sized board games, if you will. So it was cool because they had like a big Jenga, which you see now a lot. They also had an adult sized, Connect 4, you know, skee ball. They had a bunch of things there. And I think, you know, from articles that I've read about this situation is like, you know, as kids, you have your imagination. You really want to get out and play with toys because that's like your thing. That's your release or that's your fun. As an adult, you know, you can go out, like we said, to drink, go out to dinner.
To relieve stress.
Whatever. But you go to a place like the Kung Fu Saloon and they have these games that you could play. And guess what? Only adults can go there. You know what I'm saying? It's a bar. Yeah. You know? So only adults can go there. So you don't have to wait in line behind kids like at a Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah. You know, or a Dave and Buster's. Like you can go there, do your thing, have your fun, also relax and have a beer or whatever with your friends. And then that's a release, if you will. You know, you could do that. So, you know, one of the I'm trying to think, one of the main things that, you know, you get from play as a kid is, you know, releasing endorphins. It's sort of like the feel good, you know, vitamins that your body creates, if you will. And that's, you know, that's one of those things that it's one of the benefits that you have as a kid. You just don't realize it as a kid because you're a kid. You know what I'm saying? You don't really care about that.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's right.
It just, I think the thing is like playing with toys, whatever it is crucial for your development as a kid. Because, you know, there's so many things, you know, your imagination, your how to play with others, you know, how to play well or not well with others, how to interact with other people who want to play with your stuff and you want to play with their stuff, you know, how to just have fun and just exist. And so the benefit of play as an adult is really the same thing.
It's practically the same thing.
You know?
And and what's funny, you say it about the, you know, video games and whatnot. We have this place here called Free Play, where it's all vintage arcade and pinball machines, and you could play for free.
Wow.
I mean, obviously you pay I don't know how much it is, like $20 to get in,
charge,
but it's like you could bring the kids there too. So, but you could order food, you could order alcohol or, you know, regular soda or whatnot, and you could have that, and you could go play all your old video games.
Wow.
We were playing Gauntlet, so I was showing my kids how to play the adult, you know, Gauntlet. from way back in the day. We were playing that. You know, doing the old Star Wars video games. Yeah. Showed them how to play Mortal Kombat. Man. You know, on the arcade. I mean, they have like little handheld, but back in the day, we got down in the arcade on Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah,
like Street Fighter or something like that.
You put your quarter up there and said you had next.
Yeah, exactly. So, and there's like a ton of games there. So you could always play something, and they're all free. Wow. You just go there, press the start button, you playing.
See, so that would be a cool concept here. We do have a couple places like that. I think they have a place called like the Penny Arcade or the Nickel Arcade, something like that here, where everything's like a penny or a nickel. And there's a lot of vintage games. I haven't been there, but actually, my daughter has gone there with, you know, one of her friends one of my neighbors that lives next door, and their friends, they went there, you know, for like a play date or something. So I think that's dope. And yeah, I would love to open something like that here. I think the thing where you just, we in Utah as a business owner, you'd have to be careful with that exact concept is the fact that alcohol sales, and the availability of them. So you'd have to call your business a restaurant that has a bar, or a restaurant and a bar, or a bar, not a restaurant, or just a bar or just a restaurant, just because their alcohol laws here are sort of like, I don't know, bananas. So yeah, so that'd be interesting. But man, a free play place like that where here they would probably call that, I don't know. But then they let you take alcohol around. So it would be something similar to Dave & Buster's here. I think, you know, where you pay, you know, you can pay to play toys. You pay to play games, or you pay to play games and also go eat. And then, you know, you just go sit down and eat, and then have your game cards. So yeah, so I think that's doable. That's pretty dope. You know what's funny, man? My first, I guess console system was, well, no, I had the Atari, but I guess the second console system was the Nintendo, right? The original Nintendo. And the first 3 games I got were Blaster Master, Kung Fu, and Gauntlet. I used to love Gauntlet. I can't remember. I can't remember what level I got to. Maybe like, I don't know, 50 something was like the highest I ever got, but they had so many levels. It was crazy. I used to love that game though. Yeah. That's pretty funny. You said you guys were playing that. So in that free play place, do they have like console systems there for you to play, or they're just like arcade cabinets or arcade tables?
They're just all the original arcades from back in the 80s. Nice. You know, and I mean, I think the newest stuff is like the pinball games. I mean, you got the old pinball stuff, but then you have like new stuff like Deadpool and Walking Dead and things like that. But all the old original 80s, 90s arcade games. Ninja Turtles that we played and, you know, beat with the help of another random kid.
Yeah, those 2 little kids. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
that's pretty dope.
Yeah, it was fun. We're gonna go back and one day. Yeah, one day we'll make it back. But it was fun.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. That sounds cool, man. Yeah, I think there needs to be more places like that where, you know, adults can take their kids and you can feel that joy of playing with your kid, feel that joy of playing yourself, and also release some of the stresses or other things that you have, you know, going on. So along with, you know, stress relief, you know, it can improve your brain function, you know, not only playing games, or playing with toys, but like playing chess, doing a puzzle, doing a Sudoku, you know what I'm saying? Or even shoot Candy Crush, you know, like stuff like that. It sort of helps your brain function because you're stimulating like that creativity, you know, that you had as a kid. You know, because then it was readily available. You didn't have your brain in the way. You know, now you're older and you think and you like say, okay, this Barbie's naked. You know what I'm saying? Like you say that now, you know, this Barbie's naked, but it's just like soft, you know, whatever, like shaped body parts. you know, compared to when you're a kid, you're like, wow, let me imagine what this Barbie looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all weird.
Yeah.
But now as an adult, you know what the Barbie looks like. You're like, I need to cover that Barbie up, or maybe I need to change that Barbie clothes because she's more scantily clad, you know, so she can go out,
right.
So she can go have a date with He-Man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
you know, and now, you know, as a kid, you know, you would like play that same game. And like He-Man would move into the Barbie dream house and they'd be married, you know what I'm saying? And they'd have like, you know, little G.I. Joes, like little Snake Eyes as kids or something like that. But now you think about that and you're like, now is this Barbie and this He-Man gonna get married? You know, is this an open relationship? Like, you know, there's things that you thought of then compared to what you think of now, you know?
That's so funny. I remember way back in the day, one of my homies, he had this WWF wrestling ring.
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
and we had everything from He-Man to Macho Man Randy Savage to all these random people around the ring having a Royal Rumble, and then this random Barbie is in the middle and everybody fighting over. And then all of a sudden it turned into a gangbang. I don't know.
See, that's funny, man. It's funny and also very questionable about what's happening there. But no, man, it's you know, it's so crazy, you know, the things that we did there, the feelings we had, the relationship connections that we made, you know what I'm saying, with those characters, you know, compared to now. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think another thing that play does, you know, playing with toys, playing with whatever our play vice is now, is it could sort of help us deal with some emotional problems, you know, good and bad, you know. You know, you can remember the time that, you know, you walked out on Christmas Day, saw these toys, played with them, and you connect that to family members. You connect that to other situations. If Christmases now are different or other holidays are different because of, you know, death in the family, because of whatever, you know, playing with some of those toys or going to hang out with friends or family and do the adult toy thing now, you know, sort of helps sort of, you know, brings back memories, but also can sort of heal wounds and put Band-Aids on it, or, you know, maybe rip Band-Aids off and, you know, they come open. But I think it's, you know, it's sort of a positive, it's sort of like a positive release, if you will, you know, to be able to do some of that stuff. So I don't know, man. I mean, you know, if you're a type of person who misses the interaction of playing with your friends or family as kids, you know, just like we said, like going to the arcade, you can go to an arcade place like that, play those games and enjoy that time with your family or enjoy that time with friends. And that sort of helps you, you know, sort of push those old, you know, sad feelings or whatever it is associated with it, you know, back in your mind and sort of create new positive feelings. So, yeah. So I have a question.
You're right.
So one thing we sort of haven't talked about is play at work. So as a kid, your work is either daycare or school. That's it, right? As a child, not as a teenager.
Right.
Now as an adult, you have a job at work. If you have a family, you have a job at home. You know,
yep.
If you hang out with friends, you know, that's not really a job. So as a kid, you know, there's a lot of different things we just talked about, and relationship wise, cognitive wise, you know, that you do with your other friends at daycare, at school, whatever. But as an adult, how do you play with your coworkers at work? You know, I know you talked about that lady who comes and gives you random hugs and talks about, you know, potentially sensitive topics. You know, how do you play with your coworkers? You know,
that's a good question. Probably going back to the whole happy hour, going out thing. That's like the only kind of quote unquote playtime. But I don't even do that anymore because, you know, I don't know. It just becomes like kind of toxic.
Yeah.
Because you go out and then you hear all this gossip crap. I don't feel like hearing all the gossip. So I just kind of like distance myself. So I don't even go out anymore and do that. But there was a time where I tried to start organizing like team building things. Like we go to main event to have some fun. Go to things like that. I tried to organize like going to Top Golf just so we could get out, have some fun. Release some energy, you know, but you know, a lot of times it always turns into gossip at work. So I'm not trying to hear about work gossip when I'm trying to have fun. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's not my thing. So,
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think definitely the happy hour or the post work, thing, or even the team building exercises, a lot of times, you know, from my experience, turn into a gossip time or turn into, we're out here playing, you know, putt mini golf. But we're also, you know, going to talk about this account and all the ups and downs I have with them, you know, and trying to sell them product or get them, you know, squared away. So yeah, man, it's sort of a positive and negative at the same time, right?
It is.
You know, one thing that a lot of companies have now is gyms inside the office or, you know, they'll have yoga classes or they'll throw regular like parties or something like that. Some places will have a foosball table and a ping pong table and a pool table. Yeah. You know, so that's one of those things where, you know, you can get together with friends or you can sort of make like a break time, you know, every day with a couple of people and say, hey, we're going to go play ping pong, you know, for 10 minutes just to like get our mind off of things. And so that's sort of like a recess time frame. But it also, I think sometimes, you know, depending on the person, depending on the situation, sort of goes back to that, you know, that gossipy coffee or that gossipy, you know, take a break time. Yeah, man. So, you know, while that's an option, you know, going outside, taking a couple laps around the building, you know, playing cards with somebody, you know.
Dominoes. We did dominoes a lot at my
Dominoes is good. Yeah.
That was lick right there.
You know, and while it may be a gossip hour, it's also a time that your mind is recharging because you're not at your desk, you're not looking at your screen. You know, I mean, shoot, just going and sitting outside for a few minutes and doing your emails out there or taking your laptop outside to, you know, to complete a report, whatever it is, you know, also has a positive aspect on it. So it's one of those things, man. If you think about it like this, like you look back and maybe there are some times where like maybe you got on your parents' nerves for whatever reason, or maybe they were busy trying to do something. Maybe mom was trying to cook dinner. Dad was trying to cook some dinner, or they were trying to have a conversation without the kids. And they were like, hey, just go outside. Just go play, you know? Yeah. Why don't you go see what, you know, Ben is doing down the street? You know what I'm saying? And you go outside and play for a while they do their thing. The work situation is almost like that, you know, like instead of sitting inside and sitting next to that coworker that, you know, you guys have been going back and forth because you can't figure out this project, walk outside for a little bit, you know, go take a break, just go stand and stare at the sun not the sun, but, you know, go outside for a couple minutes and just
that's exactly
some fresh air, change of scenery. You know, just a simple 5-minute, 10-minute change of scenery can definitely change your outlook on either a specific situation or for the rest of the day, you know? That definitely helps. So play at work is different. So yeah, man. So I guess we could probably call that a topic for the day, unless there's something else you want to talk about.
No, I like talking that. Maybe I'll even, I was going to post up a partial piece of my collection, I guess when we drop this episode.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you have a very impressive toy collection there.
I'm about to sell a lot.
Oh, you really?
I want to sell a lot. Nice. Yeah, I have too much overflow.
Nice. I do not have as impressive a collection. I do have some toys that I've been collecting for a while that are still in boxes. So very soon, when we move to a different house here in the next couple months, I will set up my display station, and it won't look anywhere near as cool as yours, but they won't be in boxes anymore. We'll say that. So
that's cool.
So
it's all good.
Yeah, that's coming. But yeah, man, if you guys out there have thoughts about play, thoughts about toys, thoughts about the differences of when, what you played with as a kid compared to what you play with now, whatever type of toy that is in your mind, definitely let us know. Leave us a voicemail, like Jay said earlier. Shoot us a message. We get a lot of great interaction on SoundCloud, especially from the John Effect. Appreciate that, my guy. And yeah, even on our Instagram. So yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts. What toys did you play with? Do you play with? Did you want? Do you want? Etc. We'd love to continue to interact with that. So. Yeah, man, I guess, now is that time, where we will tap that love box. I don't know if we're going to still use, the George Michael, but since we haven't gotten any copyright strikes, maybe we should.
Maybe so.
Maybe we should.
Let's do it.
And yeah, man, reach around, rinse it off, and tap that love box.
Bam. Tap your love box for LSU.
Ooh, yeah.
That's it. That's about it.
GEAUX Tigers. Go Tigers. Yeah, man, that's dope. Congrats to LSU on their win. But then tap your love box for Odell Beckham as well, because he decided to go ahead and hand out real cash to players.
Yes, sir.
After the game to say congratulations.
Yes,
which is a huge NCAA violation.
Which is... it kind of goes back to that should college players get paid?
Oh man,
for stuff, because it's like these coaches, there's no telling how much they got paid.
Man,
but then these players, they just get pat on the back.
I'm telling you,
good job, son. Good job, son.
I'm telling you.
But Odell Beckham came through with the stack of cash to hand out. So shout out to him.
Yeah, it's funny because I do believe they should get paid.
At least something.
At least something.
Incentive.
The thing is, they so many of those players, especially like football and basketball teams, their likeness or their jerseys are being sold in the stores, in the campus stores, online, whatever. And they probably can't put their names on the back of the jerseys just for violation, NCAA reasons. But still, I'm number 23 on the football team. I see my jersey, a replica version of my jersey being sold in the store, stitching it off for about $200. I get none of that. I do get a free ride to college, as a scholarship athlete, but that free ride to college pays for a couple of meals at school. It pays for my books, pays for my tuition. It doesned pay for my
room and board.
It doesn't pay for my apartment if I live off campus. It doesn't pay for my gas. Yeah. Doesn't pay for a couple $100 or something like that for me to take a girl out on a date. It doesn't buy me new underwear.
Ooh, dang, that's an expensive date.
It's just a lot of things. Well, if you think about this, man, for a date, you got to make sure you got gas in your car. You go to a restaurant, you got to pay for food and drinks, pay for the tip. Got to make sure, you're looking fresh, whatever it is. So you're going out to buy shaving cream, whatever it is, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, G.
Come on, dog. Y'all better take my advice. Any college students out there listening, any young guys, you better get creative. Take a walk in the park. Picnic. Show this girl it's something other than money to impress her with,
Man. Sometimes that works. Sometimes that doesn't.
Take my advice. Sometimes it doesn't work.
And maybe those are the ones you need to steer clear from, right? Is that what you're saying?
The ones that's just in it for the money, especially if you're a college athlete. Because there's no telling what the girls' intentions are. They probably see, hey, this dude may end up being in the NFL or NBA, something like that. Let me see if I could trap him.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
Let me see if he could shoot a baby and then, bam, got him.
Got him!
That is true. That is true. That's
never know what the intentions are.
That's true, yeah. Well, either way, tap your love box for players getting paid in college. Hopefully they'll expand that to more states.
Tap your love box for Fifth Ward Weeby. He died last week.
Who did?
Rest in peace to him. Fifth Ward Weeby is a bounce artist out of New Orleans. Passed away. Definitely keep yourself healthy, people. Go to the doctor.
Yes, indeed. Tap your love box if you think the Astros are horrible cheaters and they should get their championship from 2017 revoked. Because there are some horrible cheaters, man. They cheated the game by using, I don't know, a camera to steal signs, then communicate it back to people. Like, there is, I don't know, man. In baseball, there's a sense of gamesmanship where, there's some way to steal signs, and relay it back to the dugout. But in that game, it goes over the line when you're using, a video camera in center field, focused all the way on the catcher's hands, finding out what the pitch is, then like shooting a text message or something like that back to somebody who's going to be in the dugout, who's going to tell players, and then find a way to relay that information to the batter before they hit. Like, it's sort of crazy. But that's what the Astros did. And yeah, man, and now they're getting punished for it. Tap your love box if you think the Astros should get their World Series trophy revoked. And we should have a rematch with the actual two teams that should have been in the championship, the Yankees and the Dodgers, that year. And then this year, the Yankees and the Washington Nationals, even though the Astros still lost in the championship. I don't know. I'm not bitter, but I'm also telling facts. I am bitter, but I'm also telling facts.
Oh, man. Let's see. Tap your love box for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. I don't know why I just tap it, because they decided to stepping out of the royal life.
You don't want to be royals anymore. Yeah, man. It's really interesting. Yeah, because we got a couple comments on that. Because we posted, what do you feel about that? And so Smoke and Mirrors Pod said, but he's still getting paid just to be him, which is true. Even if he, isn't or quote unquote like royal anymore, he's still a royal.
Yeah, he'll always be a royal.
Yeah, and then somebody said, I don't agree with him being with Meghan. I'm Black American too, like her. Which I don't know who's it. This person's name is HDSKDJGHBD, so it sounds like a fake account.
Elemental P.
Yeah, ABCDFG. But yeah, I think it's always sad that somebody has to qualify their statement like that. But they say, I don't agree with him being with Meghan, and I'm Black American like her too. Harry should have married a woman, Black, white, Asian, that is in the royal elite circle, because Meghan doesn't know how to handle a rich legacy title. Now she wants to cry and play victim about backlash and ruin Harry's royal legacy. Prince Harry downgraded. She doesn't even embrace her blackness to represent black women. Now, I mean, I'll say this. Harry knew exactly what he was getting into. This is funny because this person doesn't have any followers, isn't following anybody, and this person doesn't have any posts. So I think they were just trying to troll. But Harry knew exactly what he was getting into. Meghan knew what she was getting into. She probably didn't know the extent, and she probably didn't know all the secrets, that you learn whenever you join the royal family. But Harry knew what he was getting into, and he accepted that.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is, man.
It is what it is.
And I'm sure if they want to jump back in, all they got to do is say, "Yeah, we want to be royals again," and they'll let them. So,
yeah, that's right.
Tap your love box if you play Fat Pat every time you roll into Houston? Tops drop.
Yeah. Tops drop. I remember when that song came out in the 90s.
Love that. Trunks keep popping, tops keep dropping down in Houston.
Shout out if you or tap your love box if you got that new Gwyneth Paltrow Snatch candle. That's not the actual name, but
maybe we should come up with the hashtag blackout candle. You know what I'm saying?
What would it be called?
I don't know. This smells like my blackness. I don't know, man.
It smells like cocoa butter and frustration.
Cocoa butter and frustration. Which
just like black.
Cocoa butter and frustration could be something totally different. Lotion and frustration. Yeah, man. I don't have it. I don't think I would spend any money on that candle. You know, but
you wouldn't want to see what it smelled like.
I mean, doesn't it smell like? Doesn't it, in the scent or the scent of the candle like juniper berries and like sage or something? I don't know. It smells like her vagina. Yeah, come on, Gwyneth Paltrow. That's not what that smelled like. It smelled like some rotten tuna. All right.
Maybe. It's possible.
Man.
It is possible.
Tap your little box if you...
Swamp ass. Candle.
Hershey squirts the candle. Hershey squirts. Oh, man. Tap your little box if you would shell out almost $1,300 for a Voltron Lion full collection character. I don't think I would.
I wouldn't. Did you see the picture I sent you?
Yeah, I saw it. Even the car version. The car version is $340.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, though, the cool thing about this is they are fully posable. Like, you can move their arms and legs and knees in ways that you couldn't do the original Voltron when I was a kid. So, I don't know, man. That's sort of worth it. Maybe. I don't know. It's not. It's not worth it. Not worth it. Save your money.
Yeah. If I had $1,300 just to throw away, I would cop that $1,300
Oh yeah,
version.
in that case for sure. So
yeah. Anyways, shout out. Why I keep saying shouts out. Tap your love box if you thought yesterday was a pretty good day in music or hip hop music. When your kids bouncing against the wall, lots of things came out. Got a new Mac Miller, new Eminem, new Tech Nine, a lot of new things, new Dreamville. So it was a pretty good day in music, and I wasn't disappointed in the Eminem album for some.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounded pretty good. I only listened to it once because there's so much stuff. I was just going through everybody's album, but I was able to make it through without skipping a track.
Nice.
It had 20 songs on it, so good work, Marshall.
Eminem.
I have to see if it's replayable. Yeah. Mac Miller album was pretty dope too. Yeah. So I like
coming back with bangers.
EP, yeah, coming back. Good way to start 2020 off. So
yeah,
that's
cool. Let's see here. Tap your little box tap your little box for Akon because Akon officially got his own city in Africa. He signed the papers for Akon City. That's pretty dope, man.
Good job.
That's pretty dope.
It is. That is pretty dope. Hopefully, never know. You could probably make that into his own version of Wakanda,
man.
Because he's coming out with his A-coin, his Bitcoin currency, and he has a lot of things going on. So he's shout out to that dude.
Yeah,
he's doing some good stuff. Good work.
Definitely, good job for the Akon.
I'm out of love
that
boxes.
might be all the love boxes I got to tap. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Week.
Tap your love box if you are extremely frustrated as a New York Giants fan, and you cannot understand why the Giants have hired former Dallas Cowboy head coach Jason Garrett to run their offense.
Wow.
I mean, the Giants already hired a head coach who'd never, ever head coached anywhere before, who'd only been, I guess, at most, a special teams coordinator for the Patriots, and also their wide receivers coach, which this year, I didn't even know the Patriots had wide receivers. But then he goes ahead and hires Jason Garrett as...
What was their record this year?
Like, Cowboys?
No,
the Giants?
The Giants.
Oh, man. What were they?
3 and something?
Yeah, I think they were like...
4 and something? Somewhere
4 and 12, something like that. This is the thing.
So what if they end up being like twice as better next year?
Yeah.
Just based on these new people.
I guess this is the thing, right? There's something... The only saving grace that I've seen in any articles and that I could think of is this. Jason Garrett was just the Cowboys coach. So he knows all the inner workings of the Cowboys. He knows how they do business. He knows all those players, pretty much all the players on their roster with the exception of who they're going to draft or sign for next season, right? He knows Zeke. He knows Dak. He knows all their receivers and how to beat them. You know, and he knows their defense and how to beat their defense, right? He also knows the Eagles and the Redskins and obviously the Giants, having played against them and done a fairly good job against the division the last 2 or 3 years, right? I think he has a winning record against the division in the last 2 or 3 years. So I guess that's a good thing there. The other good thing about it is Jason Garrett, before he became the Cowboys coach, he was the Giants offensive coordinator years ago. And I think with Eli, when Eli was there, before he became the offensive coordinator, before he became the head coach for the Cowboys, or his quarterback's coach, something like that. So he's had this role before, right? So he knows the city, he knows the situation. My thing is this. As a Giants fan, I've always been anti this guy, after he left the team. To go back to the Cowboys, and I hadn't liked him. So maybe this will be a blessing in disguise. I don't know. But right now, I'm not happy about that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what he does. But, hey, on the alternative side, tap your love box for the Giants because they did hire a couple of, They did hire a couple of other coaches that will, coach other portions of the organization. And one of them is a black dude. What's his name? Patrick Graham. He'll be their new defensive coordinator. Shout out to him. Yeah. So shout out to them for doing that. And I think the other coach that they hired was also a black guy. He's like he's one of their assistants. But, the thing I got to say about this Patrick Graham is he was the Dolphins defensive coordinator. So Dolphins have been bad. So we'll see how that goes.
We shall see.
Yes, indeed. So anyway, on that note, I think we're going to be done. Go ahead and tell the people where they can find us, man.
People, #BlackOutPod, Twitter and Instagram, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, Anchor, Spreaker, YouTube, Spotify. Email us stuff, topics, whatever. #BlackOutPod@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail, 3853-BLAKPC. It's 385-325-2572. If you want to be a guest, shoot us a DM. Shoot us a voicemail. All that good stuff. Hit up hooksrub.com or hit up Hooks, Rub, and Spices on the Etsy site, etsy.com. Get yourself some hooks. It'll soon be Super Bowl time. Got to get your Super Bowl foods in, your Super Bowl menu in.
Yes.
What better way to do that than to get you some hooks? Make yourself some trash can nachos. make yourself a some pulled pork. I want to do another Boston, call it pork butt, Boston butt this year, pork roast, whatever, and do some more pulled
the butt
sandwiches, the butt from the pig, from the swine. Yeah, so go ahead and get you some hooks rub.
Not dab it,
sprinkle it over.
Not dab it, but the butt.
Yes, the butt.
Yes, indeed.
Sexy.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And
that's it, people.
Yeah, man.
Or we're not it.
That is definitely it. I will say this: Hooks, Rubs, and Spices. I will be representing Hooks, Rubs, and Spices again on TV on the 30th of January. I'll be going on and doing those aforementioned trash can nachos. So
is it going to be same network, same
news station? Fox 13 up here in Utah. It will be. I'll be on a little after 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So get that straight on your calendars. Follow at Hook Spice Rubs on Instagram just for updates to see when that's going to drop. And then if you want to go to hooksrub.com, you can find the trash can nacho recipe right now. You can find it on the YouTube channel right now. Hashtag We Smoke Me TV and also that video is also embedded on our website, hooksrub.com. So yeah, use all the promo codes. There's plenty of people out there with promo codes. So if you want your own Hooks Rub, use a promo code. Get you some for a few bucks off. You know what I'm saying? Get some spice in your life. Indeed. Slap some Hooks Rub all over your meats and other things that you are playing with. Hey! On that note, I'm blacking out.